brings out this, he's all over the place. And the audience went wild. So if you ever get a chance to hear Esa Peke, but that was the whole story there, because a generation or two ago, the people who run the government of Finland must have gotten their heads together and said, we have no natural resources, we're not a big commercial center, what can we do to make Finland an important country? Music. And they set up a whole network of schools, conservatories, orchestras, choruses, with a Sibelius Academy at the pinnacle of it. And they have been turning out world-class musicians for the last dozen years. Every time you turn around, something is conducted or played by some Finnish musician. And Salonen is the product of that system. They're way ahead of us in music education. The only other country that's on the same level is Venezuela, which has La Sistema. They give musical instruments and training to poor kids. Gets them off the streets, and you find some of them are very talented. So they have local orchestras, regional orchestras, national orchestras. They develop conductors, and this Gustavo Dudamel, who's now conducting the Los Angeles Symphony at the age of 27, is a product of that system. So if the leaders of a country decide to do it, and they know what they're doing, you get very remarkable results. Our hit or miss way of doing things gets some very good results. We have so many, of course, we have 300 million people here, so a lot to play with, but musical training has to start between the ages of 3 and 4. Anything that beyond that is almost too late. Maybe when the students that young haven't got the strength to play wind or brass instruments, so they start a little later. But for strings and piano, either you begin there with a head start, or else it's too late. And how many American students don't want to work hard? Big news, huh? And here are these Koreans practicing 6 hours a day. Chinese, Japanese, you name it. And they succeed. So the complexion of our orchestras is getting darker and darker as the years go on. They even allow women in the orchestras now. Was there anything else you want?
We had 2 more questions.
Yes, please.
One was, what advice do you have for young composers or musicians? Which you kind of have been giving us advice, but you can continue.
Well, it's very hard for me to say, because I cannot put myself in a position of a 20-year-old person today. It's very difficult. But you know, they grew up on rock, and I think that rock represents the dumbing down of America. So we're at opposite points. Our point of view is going to be very different. But the other thing is that what I can see is, thanks to the even the LP, but also the CD, so much is available to a young composer. I can imagine where they start from. How are you going to choose? What are you going to? You could everything from the mating call of the wild yak to Tibetan monastery to the latest hip hop. That's all going on at once, and it's all there. It's handed to you. It's too easy, I think. And I don't know how a young composer makes choices. You have to know a wide variety of music, and then select from among that to find your own direction. But the variety is so enormous at this point. I don't know how. For young composers, the only advice I can give anybody is to listen to a lot of music and study scores and take your time and write as much as you can and get it played so you hear and you get your own audience reaction. I hope nobody here intends to be a composer.
None of us, I don't think.
That's good.
My brother, but
Your
he's
brother,
not
well,
here.
but he's well on the way. See,
Yeah.
he got an early start. When did he start playing piano?
Around 5.
Around 5. Okay.
He got official lessons when he was 6, but he had already started playing on his own around 4 or 5.
4, 5. 5 is a bit late, but all right.
Mm-hmm.
He caught up. Yes, he's doing very well.
Thank you.
I admire what he's doing.
One more
But
question.
another thing is a young composer has to accept the fact that it's almost impossible to earn your livelihood just by composing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to do teaching. This has been the case ever since Edward McDowell came back from a very successful career in Europe and couldn't make it as a composer and a performer.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to become a professor at Columbia University, where he had a terrible time.
Mm-hmm.
And composers have been struggling with this issue of teaching and composing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And some are more successful than others. Some of them just do a minimum of teaching and put their best effort into composing.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them put their best effort into composing and do what they can in teaching. And I try to work out a balance between the two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how successful. I don't really. I must say, I only felt truly like a composer after I graduated. I mean, retired.
Mm-hmm.
And others have said the same thing. But I'm not even sure that I'm entirely right about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're on shaky grounds there, right? Everyone has to find his own solution, or her own solution, or its own solution. So advice, I can only say, like any musician, immerse yourself in as much music as you can,
Mm-hmm.
and talk to people who know more than you do, which sometimes is your teacher and sometimes may not be. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are you still composing? Are you working on anything at the moment?
My standard reply is, I'll be composing until I start decomposing. I didn't make that up, but it's very good. You know who W.S. Gilbert was?
No.
Ever heard of Gilbert and Sullivan?
Yeah.
He's the Gilbert. Yeah. I don't know if it was Sullivan, who was met at a party by a woman who wanted to show how smart she was. And said, well, Mr. Sullivan, I was Sir Arthur by then, and what is Bach composing these days? He said, Madam, Bach is not composing, he is decomposing. So as long as I'm not decomposing, I'll be composing. If I can survive with my eyesight and if I can survive my own cooking, I'll go on as long as I can.